Hello, today I'm going to discuss the Western pronated backhand on the closed racket face side. So it's the rear side. The last time I was doing the front side, but now I'll do the opposite side on the other side of the string bed. So a Western pronated backhand is continuous with the Eastern forehand, or it's the semi-Eastern kind of forehand between the Eastern and semi-Western. So the semi-Eastern forehand, and on the same side of the strings as the semi-Eastern forehand is the pronated Western backhand. So just these shots are the same. So a Western pronated backhand, it hits very flat. So unlike a Western forehand, a Western backhand on the same grip angle, it hits much flatter. So there's still synergy in the wrist movements and the elbow motion with the Western forehand. So there's still some overlap for synergy, even though they're kind of different shots. That the Western forehand is topspin, the pronated Western backhand is more flat oriented. I'll use the old racket for some it's good for placement and for kind of hitting right in the center of the sweet spot of the racket strings. So as you can see, when the ball is kind of low, you have to kind of vary downwards on it. And when the ball is higher, you can bring the racket up more parallel. So on the low shots, just downwards. The ground is a bit uneven here, but try again. So I'll try to hit the ball a bit higher. The racket's parallel. is extremely low, you can hit it a bit slower to make sure it goes upwards. So you can see the spin on the ball is quite flat. So now I'll move to a Western forehand. So a Western forehand, as you know, is kind of topspin, and a Western forehand is continuous with the semi-eastern pronated backhand when you use the same side of the strings. So so the semi-eastern pronated backhand is more topspin oriented, even though semi-eastern on the forehand would be kind of more flatter. So so when you use the pronated grips, it's you can kind of go from topspin on the higher grips to the deeper grips almost kind of flatter, so it's kind of counterintuitive sometimes. So you can hit an Aussie grip on the pronated side very topspin oriented, even though the forehand Aussie is very flat. And the deeper you go, you can hit it kind of flatter, so it's not quite the same trend as the forehand side of the grips, where it goes from flat to topspin the deeper you go, or the more downwards you go on the grip. And so I'll try a forehand, Western forehand, and a semi-eastern pronated backhand that's continuous. a semi-eastern grip on the closed racket face side would be quite good for half volleys, since you're in the right kind of height zone. So it takes practice because the racket face is so closed. You have to try hit upwards a small bit more, so it just takes a lot of practice. So lastly, I'll just quickly return to my Western pronated backhand. So that's the Western pronated backhand. About 110 degrees on the handle, whereas the semi-eastern is a bit higher up, and the semi-eastern was continuous with the Western forehand, and the Western backhand is continuous with the semi-eastern forehand. So so using it's also kind of vice versa. So if you're using a Western pronated backhand, it'd be great practice for the semi-eastern forehand to get that synergy. And try that briefly. The Western backhand and pronated side is very flat. I'll do one more thing. So I'll try to do an extreme Western pronated backhand. So it mightn't be too usable in a match, but just as practice, because it might be too difficult, too awkward, and maybe too slow. But so an extreme Western pronated backhand would be the same as an eastern forehand. So there'd be great correlations between the two shots. I'll really exaggerate kind of the motion by using this grip. might as well go even further, so I'll try to do kind of a Hawaiian kind of grip just beyond the extreme Western. So so it'll be continuous with the Aussie forehand. So the Aussie forehand on the same side of the string beds, and so a kind of a closed racket face Hawaiian backhand. So it would take probably ages to try and practice this for a match, but even doing a quick training session with this grip would be quite productive to get the synergy between the two shots. Another thing you can try doing is putting the spray hands for the backswing. Might help with these shots to bring it back and release with your weaker hand. So it'd be kind of too difficult to use a double-handed shot with these ones. You could, but it'd be kind of awkward. A bit difficult on the high shots. So I myself need to do a lot more practice on that shot to improve it. So I think I'll end with this one just for contrast, to remind you that in the previous video I was doing the Western backhand but on the open face side of the racket strings. So it's on the front side of the handle. It's the opposite of what we were doing just there. So that grip would still be very useful for when you're trying to practice a Western forehand with the racket strings open on a kind of just to swoop up the ball on a very low shot, or kind of very high shot if the racket strings might be open a bit, or a very kind of fast shot, or an inside out shot, would all be where the racket strings would kind of hit open. So that was on the front side of the grip, the anterior grip, or it's not using the opposite string beds. So the string beds This side's the forehand, but it's the opposite side for the backhand front grip. It's a bit different practicing it on the old racket, but it's quite interesting to use the old racket and just to kind of really perfect the shot. So you can slice that grip as well for if it's an awkward shot, and the slice would have a lot of side spin to it as well. It takes me a while to adjust between the grips, but thank you. Alright, that's all for now.